When people first notice that the sense of a central self is loosening, the concern that arises is rarely philosophical. It's practical. There's a quiet question underneath everything else. If there's no center anymore, how does anything still work? This question doesn't come from confusion about identity. It comes from concern about daily life, work, responsibility, care, decision-making, relationships. People aren't afraid they'll disappear. They're afraid that life will stop functioning. That fear makes sense because for most of a lifetime, the idea of a center has been treated as the operating system, a place inside where decisions are made, a place that manages effort, a place that holds everything together. So when that center weakens or drops away, it can feel like something essential has been removed, like a load-bearing structure has gone missing. But the collapse people expect does not happen. And this episode is about why. To understand this, we first need to be clear about what the center actually is. The center is not awareness. It is not presence. It is not consciousness itself. The center is a psychological reference point. It is the internal position from which experience is interpreted, narrated, and managed. It claims ownership of actions. It tracks identity over time. It evaluates success and failure. It tries to steer life in preferred directions. Most people never question whether this center is necessary. It feels like the place where life is being run from. But when it is examined closely, something important becomes obvious. The center does not cause life to function. It comments on functioning after it has already happened. The reason the center feels essential is because it is loud. It explains what's happening. It explains why something was done. It explains what should happen next. Because this commentary is constant, it creates the impression that it is directing events. But explanation is not operation. If you pay close attention, you'll notice that movement happens first. The body moves before the explanation appears. Words come out before the story of choosing forms. Decisions unfold before the label "my decision" is applied. The center arrives afterward and claims authorship. This is not a flaw. It's simply how human cognition organizes experience. The confusion begins when narration is mistaken for control. When the center begins to loosen, people often expect one of three things to happen. They expect inaction, they expect chaos, or they expect indifference. They assume that without a central manager, nothing will get done, behavior will become irresponsible, or care will disappear. None of these things happen, and the reason they don't happen is simple. Life does not function because it is controlled. It functions because it is responsive. The center specializes in control. It believes that effort, intention, and management are what keep life moving forward. But life does not run on control. It runs on coordination. Breathing coordinates itself. Balance coordinates itself. Language emerges without instruction. These systems respond intelligently to conditions without a central commander. Human life is no different. Work still happens. Care still happens. Movement still happens. Speech still happens. The center does not generate these actions. It tries to optimize them. And optimization is not the same as functioning. When the center fades, several things fall away. The need to justify action. The pressure to maintain identity. The belief that life must be steered. The sense of being the author of everything. What does not fall away is intelligence. What does not fall away is responsiveness. What does not fall away is ethical sensitivity. What does not fall away is practical functioning. This is where misunderstanding often appears. People assume that if authorship disappears, responsibility must disappear with it. But responsibility does not come from ownership. It comes from contact with situations. When something needs attention, response happens. When harm occurs, correction happens. When care is required, care appears. When work needs to be done, work gets done. This does not require a self managing the process. It requires sensitivity. When the center is present, responsibility often feels heavy. It feels like a burden carried by someone. When the center is absent, responsibility becomes lighter. Not absent, lighter. It becomes movement instead of obligation. Decision-making continues in the same way. Choices arise from context, information, conditioning, and circumstances. The center labels the outcome as "my decision." Without the center, decisions still occur. What disappears is the extra tension of ownership. There is less second-guessing, less self-judgment, less narrative overhead. Action becomes simpler because it is no longer routed through identity. This becomes very clear in work. People still show up. They still complete tasks. They still solve problems, often with less friction than before, because attention is no longer split between the task and the self. Energy is no longer spent monitoring performance or meaning. The work is just done. Care continues in the same way. Care does not come from meaning. It comes from contact. When someone is hurting, response happens. When something is valued, protection appears. Without a center, care often becomes cleaner, less performative, less conditional, not colder, clearer. Time continues as well. Schedules are kept. Deadlines are met. Preparation happens when needed. What disappears is mental rehearsal, the constant checking, the feeling that time must be managed from inside. Time becomes a container rather than a threat. Life does not fall apart because it was never being held together by a center. It was functioning before the story of control was learned. The center did not build life. It narrated it. Removing the narration does not remove the activity. This is not about suppressing thought. It is not about getting rid of experience. It is not about forcing detachment. The center fades because it is seen clearly. And when it fades, what remains is not emptiness. What remains is functioning without friction. A common mistake at this point is trying to replace the center. People attempt to become the observer, or the witness, or awareness itself. These moves recreate a center in a subtler form. The invitation is simpler than that. Let functioning function. Let response arise. Let action happen. Let intelligence operate without supervision. This is not passive. It is profoundly ordinary. This season will explore how this shows up in specific areas of life. Responsibility, choice, effort, care, relationships, time, not as ideals to adopt, but as mechanisms to understand. This is not about arriving somewhere. It is about recognizing what has already been operating all along. If the center is gone or loosening and life is still happening, nothing is wrong. Nothing needs to be rebuilt. Nothing needs to be replaced. Functioning does not need a center. It never did. Life continues because it is life,